Welcome, Cyclone fans, to the CF After Dark post game. It's just me right now. Matt Nelson is on his way. He's coming back from the game. He's walking back right now, so he will be on shortly. Unfortunately, it's just gonna be me and Matt once he gets here because we had a perfect storm of a whole bunch of guys that were at weddings and at driving home from the game, and Dylan and everybody else was working. So it's just me for right now until Matt gets here. He should be here pretty quick. But anyways, just a tale of two halves, really. So Iowa State beats Arizona State 86-65. It was certainly a tale of two halves. First half, I mean, the first half, Iowa State was out to a 9-point lead. And then the last 2 minutes there, Arizona State it goes on this like 15-4 run. It was really right after Bobby Hurley got himself a technical foul after trying to work the refs a little bit for some missed calls that Iowa State had gotten on some travels, and I believe and Toure had a push off on one. They did get away with a couple, but after that, Arizona went on that run, and it was a really weird feeling there at the end of the second half when it just felt like they just kept turning it over and over and over and over, and they still weren't. And they weren't making any jump shots. It was just a miserable thing. And you go from up 9 to down 5 at half, I think. And it happened in the blink of an eye. So immediately we're all thinking back to the last 2-3 weeks where Iowa State's really just not played well. Really since the Houston game, Iowa State had just not played good basketball. They'd won some games, but they had really just not. We had just not gotten any good basketball from them. Really, I mean, they beat Utah, but Utah's not any good, and obviously really just kind of chunked their way through that game. But so we thought like, shit, this might be another repeat performance of some of those some of the other recent games where they get stuck on offense. They can't take care of the ball. They can't make any jump shots, and vibes are bad, especially on senior night. You want to be able to send out Taman Lipsey, Joshua Jefferson, Nate Heisey, Eric Mulder, Dom Nelson. You want to be able to send those guys out on the right note, and you come out of the second half still not playing well. They think the first possession coming out of halftime was another turnover. They still weren't playing well, and it just kind of felt like they couldn't get it going. And we'll talk about it here. It looks like Matt's very close to being in to jumping on with us, but we'll talk about it a little bit too, just kind of more X's and O's type stuff. But then you go on this long run. I think it finished out, I want to say at 24-0, 26-0, something like that. Then Arizona State finally made a 3. But that run was something that Iowa State had needed. They needed that so bad, not just to win this game, but it had just felt like for 2-3 weeks, they couldn't make any jump shots. They couldn't get anything going. They couldn't find any rhythm offensively. It was just hopefully the defense forces a turnover, run it out, see what happens. Maybe you can try to find a shot from Elam Momcilovic and maybe he can make something, but he had been getting chased around and been getting, denied the ball essentially for the last month. And, you have that long run where the defense has turned it up. They're forcing turnovers again. They're doing a great job rotating on defense. They're not giving up open shots. Arizona State missed a couple looks, but for the most part, the defense played as well as you could ask them to play, really, and they were playing within the system very well. And you get a couple turnovers, and I really think the real turning point. I could maybe go back and try to find the play again, but I think they'd been on just like a little baby, like, they'd gotten a couple possessions and are like a 4-0 run, which is, where's the line between what's a run and what's not, I guess. But, they'd gotten 4 in a row there. And then Dom Plato steps up and steals the ball at just, about 30 foot away from the hoop, gets the steal and dishes it out, and they get a transition bucket. And from there, that avalanche was, I mean, it truly was just it was one of those classic Hilton kill shots, but it ended up being like 2 or 3 kill shots all baked into one little run there. I think as it Evan Miyakawa calls a 10-0 run a kill shot. Well, a 24-0 run is 2.5 of those. So when you can put that in a row, you put that together in a spot where the offense had really been bogged down. One of the reasons I think that I don't want to dwell on the negatives here at all today. It was a great day. There was a couple spots where you could see where they were getting bogged down, and usually you can see when the offense is getting bogged down, because that's when they start running they run the high handoff actions around where essentially the entire offense kind of just rotates around Blake Buchanan. It's kind of a weird deal. And like I said, I don't want to focus on that, because we had that whole second half to propel us. You're down whatever 5, or I think is what it was at halftime. And then all of a sudden you win by 21 because of that, because of the defense and the shot making the second half. So you can have that, and that Dom Plata steal, really kicked off that whole thing. And you hate to be hyperbolic, but that it really felt like you needed to have that run. It felt like Iowa State needed to have that run to even have any sort of optimism going into the Big 12 tournament and into the NCAA tournament, because just things had gone so poorly for the last, really just since the Houston game, things had gone so poorly. And it felt like they kept getting in quicksand too, where the harder they were fighting to get out of it, the quicker they were getting pulled under. And, and there was lots and lots of stretches where they would, they maybe get a bucket or two, and then they would commit a dumb foul. They'd have some sort of just brain dead turnover that just didn't make any sense, whatever it was. And it would feedback loop into itself. You lose confidence, you lose rhythm, and all of a sudden now you really can't make any shots. You can't get anything going, and it just keeps snowballing from there. And this time, there'd been other times in previous games too, where they'd go on a run, 8-0, 10-0 run, whatever, 6-0 run, whatever it is, get a little bit of momentum going. And then we would see, one of a few different players play a little bit of hero ball, where they would, they put their head down and drive into the paint and turn it over, miss a shot, take a bad shot, whatever it is, and that would just kind of kill it. And today, there were multiple times where it was within this 24 run. There was multiple times where they got to 10-0, 12-0, 14-0, that they had that they were given the opportunity once again to take this run that they were working on, to take this offensive momentum that they had built and squander it away like they had the last few weeks, by making a dumb play, committing a dumb foul, taking a dumb shot, whatever it is. And they didn't do that. They finished out that run, as much as you can finish out a 24 or 26-0 run, whatever it ended up being. And it was really just Arizona State made that 3 that kind of killed the run. But, they had every opportunity to keep making the same mistake over and over and over again, which had, TJ had mentioned in previous press conferences that he was, he at least alluded to some frustration that they had kept kind of making the same mistakes over and over and over again. And that was bogging them down. That was that was causing him a lot of consternation. And they didn't do that today. The senior leaders drugged them out of that. Joshua Jefferson played some of his best basketball probably since at least January. He kept making good plays. There was a couple times where I thought he was getting ready to, just drive into traffic and just, who gives a shit, whatever else happens. But he didn't. He kicked it out. He did a nice job keeping the ball moving around. Jamarian Bateman had an awesome game. I'll pull his stats up. Jamarian Bateman had a great game, but we should absolutely. I've seen a couple people in the comments bring it up. Is a Dom Plata? Yeah, Dom Plata was awesome today. He had a great game. So Dom Plata finished. Let me see where we go. He finished 4 of 5 with 11 points, 3 of 3 from the free throw line, 5 rebounds, an assist, and a couple of steals. And frankly, his impact even goes beyond that. That's a pretty good stat line for Just a guy that kind of, he's a role player. He's a depth player. No, I shouldn't say depth player. Depth player isn't quite right, but he's a role player for Iowa State. He played 26 minutes, or sorry, he played 14 minutes tonight, 11 points. And that stat line in 14 minutes is a really, really nice game. It's awesome. His impact was absolutely felt on both ends. Had a couple and one opportunities that he converted. He was, Jake Brennan named him as the pest of the game. And I think that's an absolutely, I think that's an absolutely appropriate pick for that, because he was great. But like I said, Jamarian Bateman, I want to give him a special shout out to. 5 of 9 from the floor, 3 of 5 from 3-point range, 13 points in 22 minutes. Had a few rebounds and a steal. But I thought he too, I think his impact also went beyond his stat line as it typically does. He did a good job. Well, there was a couple times he actually did a good job creating too. He came around on a pick and roll a few different times as the ball handler and drove into the lane and got himself some good shots. And one thing I was happy to see too today, though, especially in the second half, because I've made it clear. I've made my distaste clear for like I said, that motion set where it's that high dribble handoff motion set thing that they run around Blake Buchanan. They do it a lot when it's specific lineups, but they do it a lot, especially when the offense is getting bogged down. And I think they use that as kind of a way to get people moving, sort of, but it doesn't do a very good job. But if you watch a lot of that run in the second half, they basically didn't run that set at all. They ran lots and lots of pick and roll. They attacked. They did a good job setting off-ball screens to get Mila Momcilovic open, to get Jamarian Bateman open. There's a couple clips I could pull up. I'm still writing solo. I think Matt should be on here pretty quick. I'm still writing, so I'm still writing solo. I can't pull up clips just yet, but there's a couple plays, especially, it was one of the last threes that Milan hit. They ran him. They started him in the corner and ran him off. I think they might have even been a double screen, but they ran him off a screen, got him a wide open wing three, and he hit it. Mila Momcilovic, another, 16 points. He was 4 of 10 from the field, 4 of 9 from 3-point range. One of those 3-pointers was blocked at the end of the shot clock. So, count that if you want, I guess. Plus 31 on the plus minus. Good day for him. He did a great job today. I would say did a lot more, even though he finished with which, for Milan Momcilovic, 4 of 9 is below average. That's a below average game from him. But even with that, the offense and the offense did a much better job helping Milan get open rather than just making him, they coming off that handoff where they're basically asking him to drive downhill into the lane, which is it's not his strength. It's not what he's good at. He's good at, he's good at a lot of different things. He can create his own shot in the mid range off of a post up. And obviously he's an outstanding 3-point shooter, just, pretty much at any type of 3-pointer. But he's not a guy that's going to attack the hoop off the dribble or anything like that. But they would keep doing that, and it was strange to me. Matt just jumped in here. I'll be here in a second. So, but that's not a way to get Milan Momcilovic shots. The best way to get Milan shots is to run him off screens, off ball, and get him open on the wing. And they absolutely did that in the second half, and especially in that run. Let's bring Matt Nelson as he's drinking something here. Catch him off guard.
Perfect timing.
Matt, just got back from the game.
Yeah.
Give me some initial thoughts here.
I did.
If you can turn yourself up just a touch too.
Yeah, I can do. Man, couple things. So, best game by Joshua. Sorry, he deserves Joshua today, that we've seen in a long time. And I hopped in right as I caught you talking about Momcilovic, Levi. He did something that I've been begging him to do for like 3 weeks. Get 2 guys to commit to his dribble, and guess who's open? Momcilovic, right? I think too many games we've seen him go on his own and try to take a guy one-on-one, and today he drove at Momcilovic's defender, and it's almost like setting a screen with the ball. And it makes that defender commit to him, because Jeff is pretty dangerous with the dribble. And I think that's how Mommy got 2 of his open looks from 3, was because of Jefferson.
Absolutely.
So that was what I waited to see for a long time. Oh, great.
Yeah, no, now we're good. We're back. As soon as he goes back to drinking soup or whatever.
That was there we go. Matty Ice. Thanks, Nick.
Yeah, there we go.
Soup. It's a coffee, but that was probably the most notable thing
honestly,
for me. Was
it looks like
Jefferson just.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. Yeah.
Kind of does that. Like, looks like I'm drinking soup. No, so that was number one, honestly. And then Levi, they didn't shoot great from the floor early, but the quality of looks was so much higher than they've gotten in a month. Like, I know I kept tweeting about the layups, right? But they were at least getting good looks at the rim, right? That we have not seen that in the last couple weeks. So we can live with that. They'll eventually make more of those. Thanks Rickles Don. Matty Freeze, more like it, not Matty Ice. Those are my two observations, right? Quality of looks on offense, and I saw a bunch of people that had a bunch of goals for this game going into it. And Levi, that's what, as we recap this game, that was really all my goal was sometimes as a team you just need to see the ball go through the round orange thing. Like, they just need to see the ball go through the hoop. And I was nervous at halftime because we hadn't really gotten that to that point yet, offense-wise. And in the second half, we found it. The ball movement was there. We made threes. And on top of it, we got – I mean, how long has it been since we've seen that many runouts in a game? A month? So I think this team finally got back to the formula. We all knew it was in there. We just haven't seen it in 3 or 4 games.
Yeah, and that was – and I think that was what the most frustrating part with that slump was, is that it felt like they were so close to being able to break through that. And there was a couple times where they'd go on a little run and they would be like, okay, they're starting to work their way out of the funk. And then just something happened, a dumb foul, a dumb turnover, a missed open shot. And you could see, like, you could watch in real time, watch the confidence just crater. You could watch the hope just leave their eyes as they were playing. But, and it felt like they were in danger of that happening again with that little 15-4 run. Not little, it's a 15-4 run. At the beginning of the first half there by Arizona State after the Hurley tech. But they didn't let that, though. They didn't let that 15-4 run be the end of the game. And I was really, really happy with that. Like, it always felt like at a certain point, someone on this team was going to have to just put their head down and just decide, fuck this. We're going to go back to being the team that we know we can be. And which is the team that, when it's playing well, the team that went on that 24-0 run, Arizona State missed a couple looks, but for the most part, I would say just did a really good job turning them over, getting contesting shots, whatever it was. The team that played this second half is capable of beating a number 1 seed by 20 in a Final Four game. That's the type of, that's how good this team can be when they're playing well. And they finally, someone decided, like, we're going to make this happen. And I think, he didn't have a crazy, actually that's a lie. He had a good stat line here. Tamin Lipsey had 16 points, a couple rebounds, 6 assists, 6 steals for Tamin Lipsey, which is 16 points, a little above his average, but 6 steals on senior night for Tamin Lipsey is just about as perfect as you could perfect stat line as you could ask for.
And he's a steal away from 300. How about that in a career?
Yeah, 299. So he'll absolutely get that. It's probably on in their first Big 12 game.
Wednesday.
Yeah, on Wednesday. I really felt like, even though he didn't, like I said, he's tied for the leading scorer. I'm not sure why I keep saying he didn't have a great scoreline. He had a good scoreline. But I really felt like it was Tamin attacking the rim and generating steals on defense. I feel like that was kind of the initial thing that kind of made people decide to turn, not people decide, but kind of decide to just not let that run, not let the last 3 weeks continue to beat them over and over and over again. Not let that confidence continue to crater out the end of the season. And then I mentioned it before you got on to that. I think it was after that, the run was at 4-0 at that point. But Dom Plato came out and stole the ball about 25 foot away from the basket and generated a turnover and a layup in transition there. And from there, that was when the avalanche really started, because it was right after that Arizona State couldn't hang on to the ball. And that's because Iowa State was in their face, forcing turnovers.
Yeah, and that's kind of a fun note. Like, Plato was excellent today, like flat out excellent. The guy behind me there's a season ticket holder that sits behind me. We talk a lot during games, and he said it like that guy has improved drastically from the start of the season. Like his hands, he can catch the ball, he can finish. He was 3 for 3 from the line today, which you're certainly not expecting that whatsoever. And then the steal and fends off a defender and waits. He's got great patience when he goes up. Like it's that European in him, right? Where he's not afraid to basically freeze mid layup and let someone clear out or fly by him. So I think I wanted to focus on the energy, right? There were 2 guys I really saw that played with a lot of it today. And Jefferson actually gets credit on the defensive end. I thought he moved really well. He didn't have a triple-double, but he got close. He had some incredible rebounds where he was kind of flying in. Only one turnover today. He had a really nice block on a layup as well, like a really good defensive play. And then Bateman, man, like what more can you say about that guy? It's not just the shooting, which we know is good. He was 3 for 5 today. Actually, probably had 2 buckets near the rim he could have made, but I'll come back to those 2 in a second. But he gives them crazy good effort defensively. He is like, the hockey assist, right? I feel like he's the second assist on a bunch of steals. Guy. He never gets them in the score sheet, but he is the guy. Yeah, he is the guy causing it, right? So he gets a ton of credit. But again, even those 2 drives to the rim, he missed 2 floaters that were off balance shots, right? Maybe not a super, like they're great looks, and I love him getting to the rim. But I want to say we got both of those offensive boards. One was put in by Plato. I think Heisey grabbed another one and threw it out. So just him getting to the rim. And that's the missing piece for Killian Tou, who I thought had a better game, still poor shooting, airballed 2 threes. He's going to make one in the Big 12 tournament, and everyone's going to go berserk, right? Like it's bound to happen. He's not going to keep shooting whatever he is, 15% like he's been for the last month. But I think it was, if he continues to struggle, I want to say it was after that second airball, Levi, that Otts pulled him. And we saw Buchanan for about the next 12 minutes of the second half. It was a pretty long stretch. So Tou is super valuable, but I think you're going to see TJ kind of continue to pick spots with him. And what I would love to see, honestly, is him post up more, or him get to the lane more, or that pick and roll where you throw Buchanan in at the top of the key. Can Tou do that? Tou is big enough from being able to set a screen perspective. Like I think TJ's got to continue to try to get creative with him because we do need his defense. He's a good rebounder. And I did like that we saw him go to the rack a few times today. We also had the first Tou pick 6 in a month, right? So like that was really nice to see the old theft. Honestly, this game is really what this team needed. And the themes that we've called out, Levi, we talked about on the Lightcast. If you go, Tech, they shot poorly. But if you look at the rebounds, assists, forcing turnovers, this team is doing the things that they need to do to succeed. Really, the shooting held them back for a stretch there. And against Arizona, you just ran into, what did TJ say, the best team he's ever coached against. So I was hoping if they kept at it with everything else that they were doing, which we saw on Monday, that the shooting would follow. And it looks like it finally did. And they didn't shoot, 38%. It's not like they shot 50% from 3, but this team can win by 20 shooting 38% from 3 if they do all those other things well. I mean, and it's the first time we've kind of seen it all come together.
Number.
Agreed. I say like it's a bad number. That is a good number for sure. I don't know. What are your thoughts on the game overall? Like, do you kind of agree with that sentiment that it felt like they were close, but this is finally where we've seen it all come together?
Yeah, this is at the end of the Thanksgiving meal. You just eat your body weight in green bean casserole, and you undo the knot on your sweatpants. And you just let her go. That's what that felt like. And they just so badly needed this coming up because now you're off till Wednesday, and this team and to me, if that game had continued to go the way it was and it was close, or God forbid they lost, sitting on after the way that stretch, after that end of the season stretch, and sitting on that till Wednesday, and then going to a tournament setting, and then you're going to a tournament setting where you're playing on a weird court that you haven't played on before, which I don't really care too much either way about the LED court. I guess it seems like the players are kind of whatever about it. Some don't like it, some do. Some fans like it, some don't. I don't know. You're going on that. It'd have been weird vibes, and you might be just playing Arizona State again. and you have that, I wouldn't have felt good about it. And then you're off into a weird spot. But now what you can do is you can take that run, you can take that second half and go forward. It's like, okay, we're still a good basketball team. Sometimes it's just like when you're playing golf. If you've had a bad hole if you've had a bad hole and you get up on the green, you still want to putt that thing in and hear the ball hit the bottom of the cup, because it reminds you that it's the end of the hole. We're done with it. We're going to the next one. You can hit and you can get a good tee shot. It's just like that for this. You just need to see the ball go in. You need to finish that and let it, and just remind yourself that that we're still a good basketball team. Actually, I see Nick Weiler in here begging me to do a shotgun. The problem here, the problem here is all I have is a tall boy Coors Banquet, which is significant.
Yeah. And I have a Bell's Two Hearted in a glass bottle, so I think I'm out of luck there. We need a butt chug. I deserve that. I'm the one who invoked the butt chug, and we've never let that go.
I know.
Hold on, I gotta throw this up here. This game was like drinking iced soup from a plastic cup.
To be fair, like, your cup does look like you have like a deli container full of chicken noodle soup and you're just drinking it, which honestly, yeah. I would respect the hell out of that. I don't know. Is it weird vibes if I put this?
Didn't have time for lunch. Just gonna have that after the game.
Is it weird vibes if I do that?
No, do it. I wanted to hit on that first half a little bit, right? Like, I actually think it was going exactly the way we wanted it to until Bobby Hurley got a technical. And how many times have we seen? I mean, that's a page right out of the Bill Self playbook. That's Bill Self. That's what he does, right?
Oh, big time.
And for those, I don't know if they showed it on TV. He was trying to get one, and they wouldn't give it to him. So he took a chair and slammed it on the floor, or a stool, maybe. I couldn't quite tell what it was, but he was. Yeah, I mean, he was literally begging for it. It's like when the manager is talking to the umps, and he's like, sometimes you'll see the lip reading. He'll be like, please throw me out. That's what he was saying. He was like, please give me a technical. I need to get your attention. I actually think they did call it tighter on Iowa State after that. That's always how that works, seemingly, when you get a tee. Yeah. And in fairness, I think Bateman did travel on that dunk. I think he took about 3.5 steps.
Oh yeah.
But Jefferson's Euro was super
Bateman.
Clean.
Bateman traveled. Toure probably got a push off. Jefferson's was absolutely a travel.
Very clean, not a travel.
Matt's internet is failing him right now. I'm currently working on. I'm gonna chug this beer. I'm gonna do it from a glass though.
He was bummed. My internet is Bobby Hurley trying to get a tee.
Just can't do it unless you throw
there
a chair.
Go.
Apparently,
we're caught up.
Yeah.
No. Can't. Yeah, that's right. No. Toure got bumped, but I could see why he was mad about that. But did you see the cutout box where they had, while they were talking about Bobby Hurley getting a tee, they put up live of his brother getting ejected from the Marquette game. And it was an electric television product, like the Hurley cam, both of them getting teed up. It was perfect. Like, shout out to Fox for doing that. That's incredible.
The refs could have had the courage today to eject both Hurley brothers on the same day, and they didn't have the courage to do so. They could have potentially saved college athletics by doing that, and they chose not to rise to the moment and tell Bobby Hurley to go fuck himself. Like, I really wish they would have done that, because the Hurley brothers just suck. They just suck. They suck a whole lot.
My wife asked, like, why is that? Like, what are the odds that, is it genetic? Like, how can both of them be psycho?
Oh, Bobby Hurley Sr. was a dickhead too.
He was a dick. I was gonna say, this sounds like parenting
big
to me.
Time. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Bobby Hurley was a big time dick. Yeah.
No. So that was a really weird sequence. I think we went scoreless, and they went on like a 12-2 run or 15-2 run, whatever it was, and I felt like the team. Oh my gosh, he's really going for it. There it is. Look at that. Bravo. GG's.
That's a tall boy banquet, baby.
You just ate a pork chop in 5 seconds. GG's in the chat, everybody.
I had to pour it and then let it air out just a touch, because I was like, I can't do this with all the carbonation in it.
Chat, can we press Fs to pay respect? That's the old Call of Duty meme. Um, but no, that dude, the energy in that second half, like from the jump, was like night and day difference, lights out. So I give them credit for surviving a technical foul induced run, and having some juice. And for me, honestly, the thing that I love the most about this game was the steals. Like when have we seen that many steals, those many runouts? Like that is how we want to play. The other thing I noticed, Levi, that I'm wondering if it was intentional, it might have just been game flow. Like this is a Ryan Hammer thing, so we'll give Ryan Hammer a shout out. When he talks about the trapezoid of excellence, I'm trying to imitate a trapezoid here. It's because you can.
Is that what this
I don't know what
is?
I'm trying to make that's more of a triangle. Anyway, that's so.
Is that what that is?
Is that what that is? Yeah, it's tempo, right?
Yeah, tempo. That's what that is.
Trying to. It's there. That's roughly trapezoid. They pushed it in the second half, and it was all Lipsy. There were several. If they missed a shot, Taman grabbed the rebound and ran down the court. Think about how methodical we've played over the last 2-3 weeks. Like this is, and again, Arizona did play a little quick, but we also pressed a lot of that game. Again, Keeney, or not Keeney, I called you Keeney. I'm used to calling you Keeney. It looked to me like Otts, one of his messages was, let's get them sped up. Let's play quick on defense with the way we're going to press, and then on offense, like, and I've been begging for that. Like, we are so much better when you can play quick. We do not like to get ground down. And like Iowa, think about all the teams we've played like Iowa this year, Levi. They've been close, low-scoring games. It's not because their offense is bad. It's Houston was almost the same score as the Iowa game. They play that exact same style. We can beat those teams, but we're so much better when we can either A, play quick, or B, force turnovers. And I think our early transition offense is so good because Momcilovic as a trailer is elite. So is Buchanan. Our bigs can run the floor. And I was very glad that we got back to that today. And shout out to Arizona State for how they play. I think it's the same reason, Levi, we body UCF when we play them. They want to play quick, and that's usually something we can excel at.
I think there's a lot of parallels to be had with, well, how football used to be. We don't know yet, but it's going to be. But how football used to be, where there was times where, you know, they were just doing their thing. They're just kind of chugging along doing their thing. But when we would see in football, when we would see them randomly go to like a 2-minute offense before the or a 90-second offense before the end of the half, suddenly they look like the 2019 LSU. Suddenly they're like, what the hell is this? Like, where did this come from? And I think the spurts of pace, I don't know if you don't need to be a top 20 pace team. You absolutely don't need to be that. But I do like it as, I do like turning up the pace and cranking up the tempo of the game. I do like that as, gosh, oh my God, the beer's coming back. I do like that as a slump buster, or as a, as a way just to kind of just to change things up and get out of a funk. Like, to me, if I was in a funk offensively, the answer is not to just sit in the half court and just try to grind out possessions with weird sets and stuff like that. That's not the answer. To me, the answer is instead crank it up. Let's run. Even in the half court, let's run some faster sets. But really, let's try to, if we can get a rebound, let's push it. Or even after a made shot, inbound it quick. Let's get the ball up and let's make them set, and then let's attack the rim. I know you had brought up with Killian Tou because he just still is struggling on offense big time, and yet, like, now they're having to be more careful about when and how they play him, because he's still very good defensively, but you just can't keep him on the floor for 35 minutes. You can't do it. But instead of working him out of the post, I think what I would do, I would like it, to me, the best possible version of Killian Tou that can exist this season is let him be the pick and roll maestro. Let him be the pick and roll ball handler, and let him set him a screen. Don't deny the screen. Actually set a hard screen. Let him go around it and attack the rim. Use his speed and get him downhill and either finish it or get him to kick it out or hit the roller or whatever. But this is a complaint I have in general with basketball now, is I think the first time people started like denying screens or they start rejecting screens, I think that started out as a weird like 4D chess move back when, like, oh shit, he like went the other way or didn't take the screen and it messed us up.
Right.
Now we've jumped the shark a little bit on rejecting screens, where now it's just like, what the fuck are we even, like, what's the point of this? What is the point of this? There was one spot at the end of the first half during that little 15-4 run where Milan Momcilovic accidentally or whatever somehow ended up screening his own defender, which was very weird and not a great look. And I firmly believe it's not his fault. I think they just weren't given him anything to do. But I like, to me, the best thing you can do for Killian Tou going forward is get him in pick and roll situations, let him get downhill, set him an actual screen, and let him use his speed downhill. Get him to the foul line, let him kick it out, let him hit Jefferson on the roll, whatever it is. I want to see Toure getting downhill. It's very clear to me that the jump shot's just not going to be there. Like, it's just not. Like, if he cans a wide open three in the corner, I guess, great. But to me, if you're in a half court set, Killian Tou should absolutely never be sitting on the 3-point line unless he's waiting for a screen to come off of to get downhill. That is what I would do with Killian Tou. We got a question from Tom. Is this the last game Milan plays in Hilton?
I want to say no.
I don't think so either.
I don't know that he's been. The quality of opponents, right, is going to change that, but he's not been able to get open for the better part of a month. And I think scouts will see that, right? Like, he is, and some of that's maybe on us for getting him open, but his production's been okay, but it's not the shot creation like you want to see if you're in the NBA. And I think he's probably put himself back into the second round. And the math is, there's nobody who's going to be a second round pick who will make less in college. They will all make more staying here than being a second round pick. Yeah. So also think about what his usage rate would be next season, man. It'd be off the charts. It'd be 25%. Like, you'd want him taking every other shot. Right. So but he was the human forehead Schwarzkopf chiming in here. The whole time you were talking about rejecting screens, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is. How many times have you in the Wide Right Slack complained about CF After Dark Slack complained about for 2 years now, like rejecting screens, which we do
fucking hate it,
or setting a screen but not actually setting it. Like, I
hate that.
It seems like every other team, like Arizona State, set like legit hard screens today. Yeah, I'm like, why can't we do that? Can't we just screen the crap out of somebody for once?
Let's stop trying to do the weird like underwater 4D chess shit with rejecting all these screens. Like, just set a screen. If you're not going to set the screen, then just don't set the screen and don't waste movement over there. But what I'm saying is, we should set real screens, take the actual screen. It's like, Matt, why do we set screens for people?
To get them open so their defender gets caught up and they gain an advantage, right? To get them open.
That's why we set screens. And what happens if you reject the screen? You don't get open because you didn't use the damn screen. Use the damn screen. And I do want to actually, I promised people I would talk this a little bit more since I've got you here. Now we can talk a little more X's and O's. But when Iowa State is bogged down offensively, or maybe this is what bogs them down, is when they do those motion handoff sets around Blake Buchanan. I've made my displeasure known with them both publicly and in the Slack chat. I hate that set. I wish they would never run it again, because I firmly believe that set asks everybody else on offense to do everything they're not great at. Because you got Milan Momcilovic taking the handoff, coming downhill, which is not what you want Milan Momcilovic doing. Nope. You've got Tamin Lipsey and Killian Tou sitting behind the 3-point line, which is not what they should be doing. And you've got Blake Buchanan 20 feet away from the basket, which is not where he should be. It basically takes all of your players and says, whatever you're good at, don't do that. Don't do any of that.
Right.
Because we're going to do this weird shit for some fucking reason. But what they did today, though, during that run especially, is instead of having Buchanan up there, they have Joshua Jefferson up there, who is, if you're going to run that set, run it through Joshua Jefferson. Right. He can take a guy downhill. He can make the jumper. He can pass out of it. You're not like Blake Buchanan should be in the dunker spot. He should be roving around, going back between the dunker spots, setting screens, whatever it is.
Somewhere off the block, just lurking.
like setting back screens. If you're gonna get a backdoor cut, let him set a back screen. Whatever it is. They ran it through Joshua Jefferson, and I was like, thank you. This is what they should be doing the whole time. Run pick and roll with Taman Lipsy and Joshua Jefferson with Mila Momcilovic sitting on the opposite wing for a 3. Beautiful set. You have your 3 best players. You're letting Taman Lipsy get downhill, which is a good thing to do. Getting Taman Lipsy driving downhill is awesome. Getting Joshua Jefferson either coming downhill or maybe he's picking and popping. He can be like prime Draymond Green offensively. Like, let him be that. Like, let him be a great passer, a worthy pick and pop guy. Let him do that. And instead of just having him just roam around and try to shot hunt behind the 3-point line, and he can hit threes, but it's not his, like, he's not a guy that should be taking 8 threes a game. Like, give him like 4 or 5 or whatever. Let him go 2 of 5 from 3-point line, and you're good. You're good with that or whatever. But let him get downhill as a roller. He, like, to me, Killian Tou and Joshua Jefferson as a pick and roll duo would be amazing. Like, run it through that. If you're gonna run that handoff set, hand it off to Toure so he can turn the corner, put his foot down, and go. Let him get to the hoop. And they did that today they did that. That wasn't every possession, but like they did it a lot during that 24-0 run. I was like, thank you.
In the second half.
In the second half. It's like, thank you. Someone got some sense about them and said, hey, you know what we should do? We have a Wooden Award forward that's a really good passer, and he can also make jump shots. You know what we should do? We should give him the ball, and we should run the offense around him. Oh my gosh. That's amazing what that can do.
Crazy. Or Levi, when you set screens, you can hit Buchanan on the dive like they did today. Right?
Absolutely.
Like,
you can hit Mila Momcilovic on wide
three or
open
four
on the
really
wing.
good 3 or 4 really good plays where he dove to the hoop after setting the screen because the screen wasn't rejected finally. I would love to see another iteration of this, and that's Momcilovic set that screen. What is that defender going to do if he screens the ball in there? Because they are told right now, sit on his ass, right? Like, they're basically at any time grabbing a handful of his jersey. Like, it's insane how tight they're playing him. So use him as the screener because his man is not going to help out. Momcilovic can pop. Like, I'm a little surprised we haven't done more of that with him. So Nate, if you're listening, maybe take some notes. And maybe his value is more like, let's keep, because Mommy's not the guy you want to roll to the hoop necessarily, but you could flare him out. I think right now we're having him run off screens and hope he can get open that way. But I do think there are some other ways that they can utilize him. But Buchanan did have a good game. I was frustrated that he missed what he missed around the hoop. That is honestly one of the bigger differences between now and earlier in the year was he was making a lot of those shots. He would have 14, 15-point games. And right now they're not going in. However, his activity level is still super high. Like, that's what's heartening to me about all this, right? They won by 20. They played good defense, but we still missed 10 layups. Like, you make half of those and you win by 30. So I think all of these things that are plaguing this team, it may just come back to confidence. And that's where I want to just like macro, right? The season. So we finished 26-6. Really good. I mean, TJ is averaging, I want to say 24 wins a season. That's incredible. And if you look around at the landscape in college basketball, right, with like what UConn did today, it's very clear that there's 3 really good teams. And Levi, I'd say from 4 to 12, who knows, right? Like Nebraska just lost by 20 at UCLA. Are they good? Who knows? They have what? 2 really good wins on the season, a bunch that are not great. St. John's won the Big East outright, and no one is actually certain if they're good, which I think is wild that you could be the regular season winner. The Big East is terrible, right? The ACC, who knows? Look at the rest of. We talked about this in the Lightcast. Look at the rest of the SEC, right? Like, you've got a few teams lurking around the back of the top 25, but the rest of that league's not good.
It's Florida, Alabama, and then everybody else.
I think everybody else. Arkansas can't guard. Like, they're gonna let you score 100 points. They might score 110, but I do think my overall theory on the season is that Iowa State did not play a single team the caliber of these teams we played late in the year, and our schedule probably actually hurt us. Turns out Purdue and Iowa are not very athletic. They're not like Houston. They're not like Arizona. Texas Tech is maybe the quickest team I've seen. I know those guys are little. Their guards are. But man, those guys can shoot. They're quick. We haven't played a team like them all year. BYU, like AJ DeBonce, is probably the best athlete we've played all year. I actually think our schedule kind of screwed us. That we went from December 7 against Iowa until we played Kansas in this building in mid-February, Levi, on Valentine's Day, without playing a good opponent at home one time. And I think that messes with you. Like, how could you prepare for what you've done the last 3 weeks? How? Like, what on earth? Blowing teams out by 30 does not get you ready for that. And I think this team they had so much work done that you in my mind, you kind of put the season away. It's like, we're going to be a 2 or 3 seed. There's not a whole lot else we can do that's going to change that. And then you get smacked for 3 straight weeks because you have to go on the road and play at BYU and play at Arizona. And then just the stretch alone of Tech, Houston, Kansas at home is nuts. Those were 3 consecutive home games, man. Like, those are brutal teams to have to play in 3 straight home games. Like, if that would have been spread out one a month here or there, I think this would have fallen a lot different for Iowa State. And I know, like, Williams has talked about it with Hassel. We're not the only team that's gone through this, right? There are other Big 12 teams that their schedule kind of broke the way. And I kind of wonder if this team at this juncture wasn't like, let's just grind through the rest of the season and try to recapture a little form, but we care about the postseason. I mean, I'm not making excuses for how they've played down the stretch, but what a weird year this was schedule-wise. And I think it was probably pretty tough on them.
They did that to every Big 12 team too.
They
backloaded everybody's schedule. And
everyone went through the same crap he did.
It's like I get it that, like, when you backload everybody's schedule, like all the good teams you take, like you before this season, the Big 12 clearly went, okay, who's going to be the best teams in the league? It's going to be Iowa State, it's going to be Arizona, it's going to be Kansas, it's going to be Texas Tech. What we're going to do is we're going to make them all play in Houston, and we're going to make them all play each other twice in like a month. And we're just going to beat the shit out of them. We're going to take all of our best teams, and we're going to beat the shit out of them for a month. And, like, did it make, like, was the Kansas Houston 2 games in 3 days thing fun? Now it was, because we won both games. But, like, should a team have to play Kansas and Houston back to back in 3 days? That's insane. Like, that's like, Iowa State's closing stretch was crazy. Like, looking back, I mean, like, even like this Arizona State game, which was like the easiest of the last finishing stretch, Arizona State had been playing better the last little bit. They weren't like
they really had,
out. So it's like, and like Arizona played a tough schedule, Kansas played a tough schedule down the stretch, Texas Tech did. Like, there's tons of teams here that, like, I understand, and part of it is like the Big 12 is just really, really good. Like, the top of the Big 12 is insane, and I get that, but man, you got to spread these things out a little bit. Man, like, it's just they've got too many of these, like, massive games between, like, your best teams that they're too backloaded on this thing. Like, I would say, obviously they made Cincinnati a tougher game than it needed to be, but for the most part, they didn't play a great team for like a month and a half, almost 2 months.
Well, and so let's flip this the other direction to poor Baylor. All right, I'm going to defend Scott Drew here for a second. They looked really good through the non-conference, right? Like, they were solidly in the field in early January.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking about this, like, what happened to them? Let's hop back in the time machine here and look at their schedule. These are their first 5 games to open Big 12 play. All right, and now we know what we know about these teams. At TCU, Iowa State at home, Houston at home, at Oklahoma State, at Kansas, Texas Tech at home. That is brutal, right? You played at TCU and Iowa State Baylor in 3 consecutive games, and they lost all 3 of those. You get a win at Oklahoma State, and then what do you get rewarded by? You got to play at Kansas and Tech at home. They went 1-5 through that stretch, and that basically knocked them out of the bubble. Yeah. Right. And then they lost 2 more. They lost to TCU and Cincinnati. Right. But basically, since the last game of January, they have done nothing but rattle off wins. And they lost to us at home by 3 in a game that was really competitive. And they have been crazy feisty since. Right. Went on the road and beat UCF. They played Arizona at home really, really tight. The one bad one in there was losing at K-State, and that might keep them out, have kept them from contention. But right now they're anyway. So, like, I think they lost to Houston pretty good too. But the thing about that stretch, right? They went 1-5 to start Big 12 play, and their season was basically over. And if that would have been stretched out a little bit, right, I think Baylor's probably the victim of the schedule on the other end. They played everybody because we weren't playing each other. The good teams weren't, Levi. I'm like, someone had to be playing them early on. And it was teams like Baylor, who basically kicked themselves out of tournament connect. The same thing happened to Cincinnati, basically, right? Cincinnati also had a really tough start to the season. So
I think I saw them on a I saw them on a next 4 out thing. So they're not like,
if they pick up a win or two in Kansas City, there's a chance that they could sneak in.
There's a chance, yeah.
That's right. So anyway, it's just kind of it's the curse
hard
of
when you have a conference that's like the Big 12 that's so loaded, especially at the top, where like to a certain extent you can't avoid giving teams like tough stretches, and like tough stretches aren't a big deal, but like when you're talking about the last month, Iowa State, Kansas, Arizona, Texas Tech have played by far the hardest schedules in the country, and it's not even close.
Correct.
Part of it is just because like the SEC and the Big Ten, the ACC are just not as good, and the Big East are just not as good. You know, the SEC has a couple good teams, the Big Ten has a couple good teams, the ACC has one good team, and the Big East has, you know, a half a good team. But like the Big 12 has 8. Like, I mean, and when you're talking about the top 5, you know, there's a point, I think there was a stretch there where like the top 5 were all in the top 15. Like, it's insane. The strength of the conference is unbelievable. So to a certain extent, you can't completely avoid these stretches where you play like 3 top 10 teams in 2 weeks. Like, you, to a certain extent, you can't avoid that. But the conference needs to do a better job of spreading this thing out. So that way, you know, you don't have Kansas is all over the place, and part of it's because Darren Peterson sometimes he plays 30 minutes, sometimes he plays 15. I don't know. But you know, you have some teams that you had a bunch of teams that were really, really good, and then they've gone through rough stretches here. And is it because they're just playing like their quality of opponent is just insane, and they're just, you're gonna take some L's through there? Probably, but part of it too is like when you get just beat to shit for the like 3 weeks because of the schedule, that has effects beyond that stretch. It's not like, you know, there's merit to the phrase iron sharpens iron. There is merit to that, but there's also, but when iron sharpens iron, that also means that both pieces of iron come out a little bit worse than they come out more deformed than they were.
A little worse for wear. Yeah.
Right. And the iron sharpens iron only if the contact is at the proper angle, because otherwise they just damage each other. Like, that is literally how material science works. But you know, so to a certain extent, iron sharpens iron. But like when you have this, like Iowa State went through the stretch here, and fortunately, they had that 24-0 run in the second half today. Fortunately, they had that, and that hopefully is enough to, you know, that's the Hot Wheels booster on the track to get them going back again, hopefully. But if they didn't put that together today, and like Arizona State wasn't like kind of treading water there for a while, and then kind of ended up being the team that we kind of always knew they were, which was bad. If that didn't happen, Iowa State, who is one of your 2 or 3 best favorites to get to a Final Four this year, is now in the danger of losing 5 of 8 down the stretch and really not feeling good about it going into the tournament. And you can avoid that as a conference. Like, you have control over when you play these games. You know, I know scheduling an entire conference of teams is a very complicated matter. I get it. I do. But you can spread this out. Like, going into a season, we generally have an idea who's going to be near the top, who's going to be at the bottom, and then it's just a matter of shaking out the middle. Like, we knew going into this season, Arizona, Kansas, Texas Tech, Iowa State, Houston. That was always going to be your top 5. Right. That's just what it was going to be. We knew that. What order and how dominant they were was up in the air. We knew that at the bottom was going to be Oklahoma State, Arizona State, Colorado. We knew those, Utah. We knew those teams were going to struggle. I don't know if we knew that Kansas State was going to struggle as much as they did, but I'm sure glad they did, because Jerome Tang sucks, and here we are. But Keep Tang. Let me put this back up. Hashtag extend Tang.
Growing boys need Tang. Hashtag
yeah.
extend. That's right.
And but you can still look at this and be like, okay, how do we make sure that our best teams aren't beat to hell by the time they get to the NCAA tournament? How do you manage the making sure they're in a good spot versus, we've accidentally ruined them. And a Tang for floor sweeping.
Yeah, the Jerome Tang mopping on the Windex ad on the Big 12 court. I think it was Matt Van Winkle put that out. It's one of the best memes I've seen all season.
Oh, it's very good. Yeah, that's excellent.
Yeah, and I do. Okay, Lee. Me being the voice of sanity here is not a mantle that I usually take in our group. I'm usually the opposite. I'm the voice of panic and chaos. Think about how we feel about the season now. But as of 2 weeks ago, after beating Houston, Iowa State had 3 losses, and they were on the road to TCU, who now has 21 wins and is a tournament team easily, at Kansas, who has been top 25 since, and Cincinnati, who clawed their way back onto the bubble, right? So, when you talk about that team is still in there, it is. They lost on the road to BYU because we can't guard the best. Devonta might be a top 15 player in the NBA right now, and he's playing for BYU, which is insane. And then you got smoked by Texas Tech because they went full thermonuclear. They went Tsar Bomba from 3 in Hilton Coliseum and just absolutely torched you. But that team, we're not that far removed from it, man. Mid-February is 2 weeks away. And also that road trip was a tough spot. The loss to BYU was the most predictable thing on the planet. What we probably didn't figure, Levi, was staying out in Utah for 5 days and then having to come back home and play Texas Tech. These are college kids. That's a tough spot. It's probably not easy for this team to uproot and move out somewhere for 5 days and play 2 games and come home and be locked in. And I hate that. That's going to sound like an excuse. It really isn't. It's just reality that they clearly did not handle that well. And I would imagine most teams don't, going out there for 2 games and having to come back and play. So anyway, I think today really helped reaffirm how we all felt about this team. And I said on the Lightcast on Tuesday, I think they need, it's going to sound crazy. I'm glad they're playing Wednesday. Simply because it's another game. It's another chance to do what you did today, which is impose your will and see the ball go through the freaking hoop. That is not a bad thing.
I don't disagree with you there, too. I think if you had to wait even longer to Thursday, I think you'd been in a tough spot. And like you said, this is another opportunity. Last year, I was like, please God, I do not want to even I was in our Slack chat, I was like, I'm okay with them if they lose the first one, because then at least they get a little bit of time off. They can get sort of healthier and they can just get to the tournament.
Right. Yeah.
Now I'm like, they've got on this run. What they need to do is now they need to confirm this run. They need to go play. If you have to play Arizona State again in the Big 12 tournament, that's fine. Be like, okay, we know what we're doing. We know the game plan against these guys. Let's go take it to them, because we're clearly the better team. And this is an opportunity you get. Maybe, like I said, I'm not sure who exactly they're going to play. I think Arizona State may be the team they play on Wednesday. I think I've seen some scenarios where that plays out. Either way, whoever it is, this is your opportunity to go out, play a good game, be dominant. You're going to be playing on Wednesday in the Big 12 tournament, and you're probably going to be ranked on the top 10. That is where this conference is at strength wise. But you can use this as an opportunity to play a little bit lower ranked team there. Ideally, you can tee off on them a little bit, get your shit rolling, so that way when you get to Thursday and Friday and you're playing some tournament teams, that you can be playing your best basketball going into March and going into March Madness, I should say. That's what you need. And I think this is a lot. I think I said this in the middle of the run. And I talked about this a little bit earlier in the show, but in the middle of the run today, in the middle of the 24-0 run, there was a spot there where there was one possession where Joshua Jefferson kind of played a touch of hero ball, where he kind of just drove into the hoop and, didn't really look for a pass, just kind of went up with it. He got fouled, I think, so it was whatever. And I think I threw in the chat and I said, and I think I said, this is a big moment for Joshua Jefferson, because in the past at times he's taken this opportunity to play a little bit. He's feeling himself a little bit and he goes in and turns it over, or it's not, just does something and it kind of kills the run a little bit. He did not do that today, but what this is now, this is Iowa State's opportunity to take this run and to not squander it, not and not let it just go to waste. Let's continue this, and let that be the Hot Wheels booster that sends them around this track a little bit further and gets them into March Madness on a good run and feeling confident. Because there was a stretch there, I want to say in our chat, it was Dylan that said, like, right now, like at the time, this is at the end of the first half, it was like, it does not feel like they are playing with any joy right now. Like it didn't feel like they were enjoying playing basketball. Looks like Matt's gonna dip out for a second. Get up here. But sorry, Matt. So Matt's figuring his stuff out. But it felt like they were not playing with a lot of joy at the time. And when you're in a spot like that where your confidence is down, you're not having fun, and that's where like things can spiral quickly. You can, then all of a sudden shots aren't going down. Now you're down by 10 and you know that you got to come back, and then you're trying harder and you can't get back into it. And I felt like that run was where they, Levi's TED Talk 2.0. That run was where they rediscovered kind of their joy, I think, for playing the game within the system, and remembering that, hey, we're a good basketball team. This is still fun. We're still getting to play college basketball at the highest level. This is still at its best a Final Four team. This is a team that can be cutting down the nets in a few weeks, in about a month. They can be cutting down the nets if they keep playing well and they keep playing with joy and they keep playing. They return to playing more loose and understanding that just because you get down 5, get down 10, whatever it is, that doesn't have to be the thing that kills you. Don't let a kill shot be a kill shot. Keep moving forward, keep attacking, keep shooting, keep playing defense, keep rotating, keep closing out things, keep getting in guys' face, keep trapping, doing all this thing, because that's what your foundation is. That you got to do that. Once you start, especially with this defense, once you start doubting yourself a little bit on defense, in this system, you can get in trouble really fast because you're not rotating as quickly as you need. You're not trapping as hard. You're not closing down on guys as fast as you need to. And then when you do that in this defense, with this no middle defense, that's where you get caught out. That's where you end up with wide open shooters on the wing. That's where you end up in weird spots that hurt you, and that can, and that competent teams that have good shooters that can knock down jumpers, that can knock down open threes consistently. That's where you end up with trouble like that. It's like Texas Tech was one of those teams where we knew going in they were going to knock down a ton of threes. We knew that. Or they were going to shoot a ton of threes. We didn't necessarily know they were going to knock them down the way they did, but we knew they were going to shoot a ton of threes. And Texas Tech is a veteran team. They're a well-coached team. So we knew that if you are not playing 100% on defense, if you're not committed to every closeout, every rotation, every trap, Texas Tech will beat you from deep because they can shoot it really well. And they did. They shot out of their minds. Now they shot out of their minds. But the way that Iowa State played defense that game allowed them to do that. They did not make it difficult for Texas Tech to do that. In the end, they're still Division I basketball players. They're still Power 5 basketball players they're good at the game of basketball. They're playing at Texas Tech for a reason, and that's because they can knock down open jumpers. This isn't playing Norfolk State or Chicago State or Stony Brook. This isn't playing one of those. This is playing a team that has lots and lots of good shooters, lots of good guards. Today, in the second half, Iowa State, the team rediscovered that when you play with conviction on both offense and defense, This team is really fucking good, really good, insanely good at this. National championship good at basketball. When they decide that they want to be, when they play with joy, when they play with conviction, they can do all of that. We saw that in the second half. Wednesday is an opportunity to keep doing that. Maybe it's against Arizona State. Maybe it's against Baylor. I don't know who has all the options for Wednesday, but that's their opportunity to keep doing that and remember that that is what they need to do going forward. And that's how they can find their success in March. That's how they can get to the third weekend in March. That's their formula going forward. And it's not some bullshit half court sets where they're running around the center that can't shoot. Or, well, actually, he had a night. He took 1 3 today. Buchanan kind of has a sneaky good jumper from outside. I don't need him taking threes, but Matt, you're muted. but that's their formula going forward, is playing with conviction, playing with joy, and understanding that they are one of the best teams in college basketball, and they're capable of beating any other team they play going forward. And they remembered that the second half, and it was beautiful. Are you unmuted now?
I should be.
Yeah.
Is that better?
I gotcha.
Does the microphone sound better? Does it sound less underwater in my bathtub?
Yeah, because now you're using your actual microphone in front of you.
Yeah, turns out Matt's not a genius when it comes to this whole electronics thing. Thank you to the chat who has been roasting me for that. So I'm sorry for your ears. I apologize. Thank you, user 22. Surprising. Yeah, not surprising. We've got to shout this. Okay, you're welcome. Trivia time. Do you know who Stony Brook's mascot is? Chat, anybody? Come on. We'll flash it up. The first right answer.
It's not a typical one. I'm trying to remember now. Are they the dragons?
That's the right vein. It's not like a real creature, but you're close.
It's like the dragons, griffins, something like that.
It sounds like my mic is in the middle of a butt chug. There we go. He got it. Wolfie.
Seawolves.
Wolfie the Seawolf. Wow.
Also,
Cyclone
actually,
games. What a poll.
Do you know the only other NCAA school who's nicknamed the Seawolves?
Seawolves. It's not UNCG. There's a North Carolina team. Okay. Seawolves. I can't think of another one.
It's actually extremely fitting geographically.
Is it like Pacific Northwest?
No, they're the Tigers. Sorry, that's Pacific in Hawaii.
Pacific.
No, the sea. Oh, Fireside's on it.
No way.
It is Alaska. It's the Alaska Anchorage Seawolves.
Man, Cyclone games. Either you're really quick with Chat GPT or you're just a sicko. I'm fine with either.
Dude,
but
honestly, this is an off-season thing. I want to do like a Sporkle quiz where we just go through NCAA mascots. Fuck, I could do it right now. I don't give a shit.
I bet. Okay, I'll quiz you with one. I bet on a play-in game for the Horizon League tournament because I'm a sicko. It was Monday night. I was like, well, I have nothing better to do. Or Tuesday night. My wife walks in. She goes, "Why are you're really invested in this IU Indy game, aren't you?" And I said, "Yeah, my blank." I knew the mascot right away. Do you know IU Indies?
It used to be IUPUI.
It did used to be Ooey Pooey. Very sad.
Ooey Pooey. IUPUI. So I know for a long time I mixed up IUPUI and Iona. Iona is the Gales.
The Gales.
IUPUI.
Someone's going to get it in the chat. I'm waiting. Okay, now the chat's just naming random teams and their mascots, which I love. Okay, user 2267. It's the Jaguars. Very nice. The Jaguars.
The
we should do a live
something else. I'm trying to remember.
There is a team that is the Mastodons.
Yeah, there is. I'm trying to remember who it was.
It is who is the Mastodons? Hold on. Oh, that's Purdue Fort Wayne, another Indiana team.
Yeah, you're right. It is Purdue Fort Wayne.
I wanted to say
Eric Mulder.
I wanted to say the Mad Ants, but that is the old G League team, which I think has since been moved.
That's the Fort Wayne Mad Ants G League team. Yeah.
Dude, this is the great. Okay, hold on. We have to talk about this. Most people don't know that this tournament existed. It's called the Great Alaska Shootout in Anchorage. The women are still doing it. I think they took a break. The men's tournament, I want to say, ended in the mid 2000s, but there was a time where, like, Have you ever heard of this, Levi? Like Duke, North Carolina, they used to play in this tournament. It was like a crazy prestigious event to go to. And because of they basically quit due to travel costs. Flying your team to Anchorage.
That makes sense.
Hotels are expensive, flights are expensive, right? But like most people don't know that Anchorage had like one of the most prestigious tip-off tournaments, and I'm kind of sad it's gone. Like, let's bring that back.
You know what game has always puzzled me? Why it's still like a thing? Is the one that they play at the Pentagon in Sioux Falls, where like you'll get like two like good teams, and it's not just like Iowa State, UNI. It's like two good teams from just somewhere that go to fucking Sioux Falls, South Dakota for a game for this arena. Like, I guess from what I understand is like a cool arena. I've never been there.
It's very cool. It is in the shape of a pentagon. I went to Iowa State played we played I think it was Colorado was the first time we played there back in like 2016. Won that game, but that one on TV, the court is weird. The lighting is weird. The seating sections are weird. There's some obstructed views where like you're sitting behind a big corner pillar. Like it's a really bizarre venue. But okay, so I saw someone throw in the Virginia Catamounts, which I mean, shout out to that. Vermont. Sorry, not Virginia. Vermont. I believe it's like a mountain lion, I think, is the Catamount is kind of what they're going for there.
Yeah, it's a cougar, basically. Yeah,
it's a great. Cyclone Larry would be all over that. Huge.
Cyclone Larry's mom.
Huge, yeah, that's right. Huge Vermont fan, Cyclone Larry. I love this. This is, I want to say, UNCG is like the Seagulls. One of those teams in North Carolina who's in the tournament a lot has.
Yeah,
it's either UNC, it's either Greensboro or Wilmington. Someone in the chat get on AI and do that. One of them has a really cool mascot. I am in. All right, let's kind of get to the tournament because I've seen a few people ask about Big 12 tournaments seeding. So I think it's pretty much baked. We will be the 5 seed and play Wednesday morning and then also Thursday morning if they win in those sessions. Okay, someone said Greensboro's the Spartans. Thank you for that. So I think Baylor, Arizona State was how I saw that projection shaking out. Okay, I was right. Wilmington is the Seahawks. If you've never seen UNCW's colors, it's like a seafoam green and a dark blue and a little yellow, sweet uniform.
It's just like like a navy blue with like an emerald green is an elite color combo.
It's a very good looking. They've got great uniforms. I cheer for them when they make the tournament.
As much as I despise the Seahawks helmet, their color scheme is elite.
Very nice. I agree.
I hate the helmet though.
I mean, so KenPom wise, Iowa State actually jumps up to 8th, which for the metrics, they're 7th defensively and 22nd offensively. So like, if you're wondering like what's a comp profile wise, identical basically to Michigan State. And Michigan State is on one right now. They are playing very well. They've maybe snuck their way in all the way into that 2-seed conversation. There are only 4 schools right now that are top 10 in both, and no one else is even remotely close. Those 4, shockingly, are Duke, Michigan, Arizona, and Florida. And as of right now, really good chance those are your 4 number 1 seeds. Illinois has not played great defense. But man, as you look at the rest of the teams behind Iowa State, it's kind of a mess. UConn is all the way back at 11th from a KenPom perspective. Nebraska, KenPom wise, is 54th on offense, right? So like, there's a lot of schools that have some really bizarre. Purdue would be like number 2 on offense, but drops way down to 33rd on defense. So these metrics are going to keep Iowa State in a really competitive spot, especially if defense can move into the top 20. I think Keeney, no, I keep calling you Keeney. I got to quit that. I'm used to being on with Keeney. Levi, I'm pretty sure the metrics are teams that win the title are usually top 20 in both. You don't want to pick a title winner that is not inside the top 20 in both categories. So as of right now, there's only 4 schools that qualify, but we are 2 spots away.
Yeah, 222
on the offensive
is close
side.
enough where I'm like, eh.
Yeah, we're right. But again, we're really the next closest team that would be kind of there. Again, is Michigan State, and they have played. I actually really like that team. That's going to be one of my sleepers in the tournament. They have played quite well. You could ask who they've played lately. It's a great question. Not a lot because the Big Ten is pretty soft as you move through the middle part of it. But I think it's going to be really fascinating because a lot of the teams in the top 10 have done nothing but eat losses. Look at where Vanderbilt and Tennessee, Kentucky. Let's pick on those 3 for a second. The SEC were a month ago. Bama, Arkansas, again, just have 8 losses down the stretch. Nebraska's got some bad losses in the resume. UConn now has 2 of probably the worst losses you can find in the country, in the Marquette one today and home to Creighton. Both of those teams stink, and it's going to hurt them tremendously. That loss today is for sure going to cost them a 1 seed. It might cost them a 2 seed. because that league is just not good. And also it's going to hurt them in the committee's eyes that St. John's won the title outright. It's wild. St. John's lost one game, and it was to UConn by like 30 points in league play. And then they won it outright. It's bizarre that UConn dropped those 2 games. So like, I'm telling you folks, good luck. I think with your brackets this year, we may be entering the realm where we're finally seeing more upsets, because I'm just not convinced that anybody from the 2, 3, 4 line is really all that good, or that there's at least that much separation from a 2 and a 3 this year to where like a 6 seed's going to be. So I think there's a chance you're going to see some higher seeds, or sorry, some like lesser seeds, like a 5, 6, 7, be able to win some games. I do think the ones right now, again, they just look incredible. Like, you really want to play Duke, Michigan, or Arizona right now? The answer is no. I would throw Florida or Houston in the spot for those last ones. But this is where, tying back to Iowa State, Levi, there is an opportunity for the Cyclones. If you're going to pick up probably a quad 1 neutral opportunity on Wednesday. I know that sounds crazy, but Arizona State came into the game ranked 60th. So on a neutral, that's going to be right on the border between Q1, Q2. And then any game from there on out they're all going to be Q1 opportunities on a neutral. And the committee may not pay attention to what happens Saturday, Sunday, but they for sure will Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So they've got a chance to boost their resume a little bit. I think the 1 seed conversation is pretty well baked. But again, there's 3 really good teams. Is it really that baked? If they win 3 or 4 games, it may not be. So I think there is plenty of reason to want to attack that tournament next week. And I'm hoping that this team was really just trying to get through the season. There's nothing to hold in the tank now. There's no reason to. You're going to go down to a barn that's going to be filled with a lot of Iowa State fans. I'm going to be down there this week, which I can't wait for. I'm really excited for that. So I don't know. Tournament's going to be fun. I think we're going to try to unpack that on Selection Sunday. Is that right, Levi?
Yeah. So I can tell you this, that on Selection Sunday, both Cyclone Fanatic and After Dark will have Selection Sunday reaction shows. I don't know if we'll just set it up kind of the way a normal post game is, where it's like Cyclone Fanatic goes for a little bit, then we go for a little bit, or then we go for a long bit, a lot of bit. Or if maybe we do some sort of combined show. I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do with that yet, but there will be at least 1, maybe 2 Selection Sunday reaction shows where we'll go through the bracket and stuff like that. And then on Monday, so live reaction show during the actual show, maybe we do one. The tricky part with live reaction shows with that stuff specifically is that, like, we can't put the show, like, we can't put the actual selection show on the screen, because it's a copyright thing. So we can't take CBS's feed and just put it on our stream. So like we can do one, but it would just be us watching the stream and reacting to it. So like, when I would be open to doing that, if people are into that, but that's what it would have to be. Like, we wouldn't be able to, like, we wouldn't be able to put CBS's feed on our stream, and then we wouldn't be able to put CBS's stream on our feed and then react to it, like where you can see the feed in there. So that's the tricky part, though. But either way, no matter what, we'll have some sort of reaction on Selection Sunday, both for Cyclone Fanatic and After Dark, whether that's combined or separate. We'll end up doing something there for sure.
We're also working on maybe a little tournament challenge for After Dark. So I've got a little homework to do, Levi, over the weekend to get all that put together. But we're hoping
Do you know what
to
site you're going to use for that.
So ESPN Tournament Challenge has like probably the biggest app, but I actually really like Yahoo's. Yahoo does a really nice job with their bracket picks. So if you've got any preferences, let me know. But I'm going to work on that probably here today to get all that set up. Should be a fun tournament. I can't wait to see what the bubble looks like, Levi, because there's a lot of Big Ten and SEC schools that have done nothing but play themselves off of the bubble, or at least they should be. So I will be very curious. I'm just glad that
SEC's only 500 in conference play since January.
They're only 500 in conference. That's right. Oh, I got like Keeney's audio cut out, so I got like a 10-minute monologue on Auburn on Tuesday, and I just ranted. It was great. Yeah, I think it's going to be exciting on Sunday, because if Iowa State is a 2 or a 3, I mean, St. Louis is going to be in play. it really, and I think that's a really good scenario for us because it means Chicago if you're in that regional, right? And that's ultimately what you want. Because if you think about the teams that you're chasing for that regional, right? So Illinois is really high in KenPom, but they've got some kind of perplexing losses. And at this point, I believe Iowa State is still ahead of them, and Michigan State would go east. Buffalo draws them. And outside of that, there's really nobody else that's close. As long as you're ahead of Nebraska, and even still with that, Nebraska's closer to Oklahoma City. So just kind of based on how that really, the way that I always read it, Levi, was St. Louis was up to ISU's comeback had nothing on my microphone. My microphone really is a comeback story. It really is.
This is a good one.
That's a great.
Yeah.
That's Don Rickles. Thank you. Iowa's viewed St. Louis as a 3-team competition for 2 spots. Those 3 teams were Iowa State, Purdue, and Illinois. So what they do, let me hop into the mind of Joe Lunardi and the committee.
Let's not do that.
It's not
Not Joe Lunardi.
What they look at, if you're wondering site-wise, I've got some friends that are like really into this. All they do is do a Google Maps, miles driving from the arena to campus. That is how they determine sites. So if you're ever curious, like who's going to go where for the top 4 seeds, the priority starts with the 1, then goes on down to the 2. Technically, the 4 seeds also do get some priority. It does not happen all that often, but sometimes that helps with the coin flip on where 4 goes. But so if you do the math, like for Michigan State, Buffalo is way closer. But if you do it for Purdue, Illinois, and us, it's St. Louis is the closest site. But we're closer than Kansas. We're closer than Nebraska. So, and they are going to get 2 of those top teams. That's already been kind of put out there. So it was always going to come down to one of us 3. Having the head-to-head with Purdue helps. And then also they just haven't played all that well down the stretch. So I think, unless you lose Wednesday and knock on wood, like even if whether there are 2 or 3, my guess is they will be in St. Louis. Other things could happen potentially, but again, if you just look at miles, there's really not a lot of other schools that are going to be in contention to get it. So what you would really not enjoy, and I don't know how afraid you are of St. Louis, if any of you have watched them play, but they're quite good. And they usually will throw a bone to a team like St. Louis because Wash U is the host. So St. Louis could get their own hometown as a regional, and they would be an absolute menace. They're a pretty damn good team. Most likely they're going to be a 7. So if you're the 3, you might actually avoid them. I know nobody wants to be the top 3 seed, but I'm telling you, St. Louis University in that arena would not be a fun game. That's like, congratulations, but also here you go. You get to play the hometown team who's had a really good year and has a really good coach. Someone said, okay, yeah, that's a fair point. St. Louis has kind of had some despicable performances of late, but that's just a weird spot. Playing the home team basically in their home gym is never really all that fun. They did get smacked around by George Mason. I agree. But anyway, I think Iowa State has several things to thank for being in the spot that they are, Levi. One is the metrics like them. Being a top 10 team in one KenPom metric helps a ton. Sticking around 8th means they project to the 2 line. It's not going to drop them to a 4. And then they look, as we've learned, non-conference is incredibly important. And I know the Purdue win doesn't look quite as good, but you know what does? You beat St. John's on a neutral. You beat Creighton, who beat UConn. You beat Iowa, who's got 20 wins and is going to be probably a 7, 8, 9 seed. We played Creighton. Right. Blow the doors off them, right?
Totally forgot about that.
And you beat Purdue, but Purdue, yes, they've lost, but it doesn't really matter because it's still a Q1 win and it's still a good road win, right? Like as long as they make the tournament and are above a 6 seed, right? So like you did so much work in the non-conference that it is going to be hard to, I think at this point, honestly, Levi, I would be jaw on the floor shocked if they fell past 3. And that was why Lunardi, even after the losing streak, had them rated as the top 3 seed going into this game. And with them winning, UConn losing, like, honestly, there's a chance you see that come out that tomorrow morning they're the top 2 or the last 2 seed. So just keep for reference. I think if they win Wednesday, they probably stay exactly there.
If you win Thursday, you'd beat Arizona. So then that
correct. You would get a matchup with there. And honestly, I love how this falls. I mean, of all the teams that we've played recently, getting Kansas in the semifinal, who you just beat 3 weeks ago, with the way that they've been playing recently. I know they hung a bunch on K-State today, but it's a rivalry game, and who take a ticket and stand in line in terms of who's hung 100 on K-State this year. But I'm glad that that's the team we draw in that Thursday game. I would not want it to be Houston. I would not want it to be Arizona. Even Tech, with the way that they can just go thermonuclear from 3, because that's one of the things KU doesn't do all that well is shoot threes. So again, we can cross that bridge when we come to it. But Levi, we've probably pontificated enough. I need to go get another beer and say hi to my in-laws. So
You know what's a funny? You said like the who hasn't hung a thing, who hasn't hung 100 on Kansas State this year. It is funny because the list is Kansas, Texas Tech, South Dakota. Oh no, sorry, no, sorry, that's a wing. So it's Arizona, Texas Tech, and Kansas have both hung 100.
What are
We
the
put up
odds that
95
three
on them.
that three conference opponents put up 100 on you? That's not a good sign.
No,
it's
no,
just
that's bad. That's bad.
It is just not. Yeah,
Well, and
we
then Iowa State put up 95.
we
Like,
put up
it's not
90.
like-
We put up 95 on them.
Like, yeah. All right. Yeah. We'll wrap her up for this week. Or for today. So we'll be back on Wednesday. Actually, well, so once the bracket is solidified, I think probably Monday, we're going to have offensive go on Monday the next couple weeks to do a real deep dive on these brackets, both the Big 12 bracket on this coming week and for the NCAA tournament bracket the next week. So basically the next couple weeks, both on Cyclone Fanatic and After Dark in conjunction, you can count on. So Monday is going to be the day to tune in for like in-depth, break it down, every little bit of analysis for the brackets that you could ask for on Mondays. So, for After Dark, we're going to have offensive on Monday for both weeks. That's Tom, Sean, Nate, and then David Braga will come in as well and talk about the women. And then we'll have our selection show on Sunday, and we'll have a big bracket breakdown on Monday as well, especially specifically going over Iowa State stuff. And then we'll have post. We will have post games for all through the conference tournament, all that as well. So we've got plenty of content coming here the next couple weeks. It's going to be an excellent time. Oh, we got some questions. What, Matt?
There's a bunch of comments that thoughts on ranch.
Thoughts on ranch?
I like it. I prefer it to be runnier, not thicker. Not sure if that's a hot take.
That's a good
or not.
take, actually. Runnier, like thinner ranch is better than thick ranch. I'm on board, actually.
I don't need all the emulsifiers and all that crap in there. Like, just give me the straight goods, a little runnier where I can pour it out. That's right.
Let's see here. Thoughts on clone cones?
Favorite hot sauce?
No. Clone cones.
Whatever they did to the color this year is much better than it used to be, because they used to look kind of ass. I don't really get it myself, but if my kids want one, I usually say yes. So
it's ice cream.
It's ice cream. Favorite hot sauce?
You're definitely not a dry salad guy.
No, not a dry salad.
No, favorite hot sauce.
I'm a Cholula guy.
Cholula is my go-to every day. Cholula
it's so good.
Is the jam. I do make my own hot sauces, but I have Cholula as just like my go-to every day, whatever it is. Matt, like what is your tolerance for spice?
I'm middle of the road. Like I can handle. I can tango. I honestly, I freaking love hot sauce. I put it on.
Oh yeah.
Take your pick: eggs, baked potatoes with butter, like you name it. Like there's not much I don't put hot sauce on.
Figure it out. I've got a bottle. So I've last year I planted a habanero plant. I had a habanero plant in my garden last year. Have you ever had a habanero plant before?
No. Did it produce a ton?
You know how many habanero plants make? It's fucking insane. So like I had one plant and I think I harvested probably 3 dozen habaneros off of that thing. Nobody needs 3 dozen habaneros for anything.
I have a habanero story. I was making a broccoli pesto side dish for a New Year's Eve party, and it called for just a hot pepper. It didn't specify. I said you pick. Well, I sent my wife to the store and she bought a habanero. Oh. And I never cooked with one before, and I did not understand that sautéing with it would make it 1,000 times hotter.
Oh yeah.
And I was crying in the club, and the club being my kitchen, exhaust fan on, windows open, standing there just like sobbing. My eyes were red and swollen by the time we got there. So it was inedible. It was so hot that people had like a bite of it and it all just went straight. I have a hot sauce upstairs that I made. So me and my buddy, he also had a habanero plant. So he brought habaneros and I had habaneros. We just spent one entire day from like 9 a.m. to probably 4 in the afternoon, just making hot sauce all day. Boy. That's all we did all day. And we made a couple different hot sauces. Both were great. One was kind of like, it did have Tabascos in it. It was more like a vinegary type, Tabasco-y type sauce. It's much better than Tabasco. I'm not a big Tabasco guy, but much better than Tabasco. But the other one, it ended up being like it's got,
all of these are habanero sauces though. So the one I wish I would have taken a picture of it. We had a boiling pot. This is like, I'm talking like, this is like a 3-gallon pot, like huge pot or whatever. And that shit was full. When we started this thing, we took the stems off. That pot was full of habaneros. That one, like the one of the hot sauces we had, the pot was just habaneros, bottom to top. And then we put in apple cider. It was just a pound of habaneros, apple cider vinegar, and then like eventually we kind of cooked it down, added some more stuff, tomato paste and all that or whatever. And it ended up being like a very good, but it's a very, very hot sauce. But I'm convinced that ever since that day making hot sauce, my palate was like reset that day to the point where like I don't find much of anything spicy anymore. So I think
you jailbroke your tongue.
Kind of. That was because I remember because my wife had set building that day for her theater. She came back home and she was like, she stepped into the kitchen because the kitchen comes in right after the garage. She stepped in and she was like, "Oh my God, what are you cooking?" I was like, I just turned to my wife and said, "The air is angry," and it was.
The air is angry.
Like. You were like, oh, I put like one habanero on this thing and it was just inedibly spicy.
It was.
That pot, I'm not kidding, had probably 40 habaneros in it.
And you probably had to throw it out. Unusable again.
It was 40 habaneros and apple cider and hot apple cider vinegar. Have you ever cooked like with apple cider? Like, have you ever had like stood over a pot of evaporating apple cider vinegar? It is smelling salts to your brain.
Oh, yeah.
It's just... bang, you're awake.
You could smell colors, smell sounds.
It's all that. So
my sinuses need that. That's exactly what I need.
Boiling vinegar and then also 40 habaneros together. And you know what? It made good sauce. It made a great sauce. The hot sauce is amazing. It's awesome.
It's an upset win. Let's go rapid fire. Favorite crime TV show? I actually love The Sopranos. I keep going back to clips of it. I know that's going to sound cliche, but The Sopranos it's actually not a crime show. It's a family drama, and it's incredible. I don't know where yours is.
Favorite TV show where they commit crimes? Because if that, then Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad is great. I thought I said favorite TV show in general, and the one that I get stuck on a lot is Mad Men. I know it's a slow burn, but it's an incredible show. It's one of the best ever made in terms of cinematography, the costumes, where it was set. Favorite pizza place? I'm a sucker for Pizza Pit here in town, man. The thin crust, sausage, mushrooms, green pepper, is incredible. Like I know Pizza Pit it can be greasy. I get it. They make a great pizza. They just do.
Mine's Mabes up in Decorah.
Mabes is incredible.
Mabes.
Okay, this is brisket or burnt ends. I'm a burnt ends guy. I am. Sue me. I love burnt ends.
Why do you think that's a hot take? Burnt ends are just better. Like
I think they're better.
Okay, so here's the actual like based hot take. Brisket is fine, but it is not the crown jewel of smoked meats, as many people say. I mean, we slow smoke brisket for 12 or more hours because it's a bad cut of meat.
It's a bad cut of meat. I agree.
It's a bad cut of meat. So like, if you gave me the choice between well done, like not well done,
really
like
well done,
done well, brisket versus a properly smoked, maybe a beef cheek or
can I hit you with a hot take?
Back ribs,
turkey breast. If you brine and smoke a turkey breast properly, it is really good. I was on
board until you said turkey breast. With that take, you can fuck off.
Hey,
turkey breast is dry as shit.
But normally, that's the problem with it, right? You can't order at a restaurant because odds are it's ass. Like 95% chance it's horrible. What You Smoking in Luther is like the only one I've ever had that makes one that you would actually want to order.
Brisket is a very good measure of whether or not a barbecue restaurant knows what the fuck they're doing, because it is a difficult meat to get right.
Very hard to get right. I would agree.
The problem is that even when you get it perfectly right, though, it's still like the ceiling is just not there compared to like a really great rack of ribs, or like I said, or like a beef cheek. Beef ribs are awesome. Like that kind of stuff. It's just not, the ceiling isn't there.
One thing that there's a place in Ames, Cornbread. It's in the old train station on Main Street. Very good barbecue, but for pulled pork. So sometimes pulled pork can be either overly dried out, or you pull it and let it sit in too much fat or other things, right? They will just place a hunk of shoulder on your plate and let you pull it yourself.
Hell yeah.
It stays moist. The fat stays together. Love that they do that. Okay, this one is a great question from Nick. My wife and I is going to sound. We're actually
My
both
wife.
Sips people. Sips is gross. It's grody. It's the birthplace of hepatitis, most likely.
I'm gonna
That
say
couch
size.
in the corner. Who knows what's happened on that couch? But Sips is kind of our place. It's a little hole in the wall. The floors are always sticky, and there's something reassuring about that.
I do have a soft spot for Sips. I think I'm gonna go size, but I do have a soft spot for Sips. To me,
Ooh.
AJ's is a very clear fourth on that list.
Yeah, I
Very,
totally
like,
agree.
Easy fourth.
You could replace that one with a lot of other ones. This is a good question. Favorite mid
is in the Missouri Valley.
in tournament. It's because of the tournament and the teams that have come out of this one. It's the Atlantic 10. The A10 always has. It's a little down actually right now, but incredibly high level basketball in that league. You've gotten a Final Four run from George Mason, a Final Four run out of the play-in from VCU. You've gotten really good performances from Rhode Island, who's made a Sweet 16 out of there. Dayton's in that league now, who's been really good for a long time. Like, there is some legit basketball played in that league, and their conference tournament. I always tell people to watch it because usually the winner of that tournament wins a game or two in March. Like, that league is usually pretty well represented when it comes to the.
I'm just gonna go with the Sun Belt because it's some shit ass basketball. It's terrible, and we're just gonna keep rolling with it.
Oh, and that bracket is great. Incredible bracket. What a joke.
Favorite
Okay.
type of cheese? Smoked Gouda.
Oh man.
Smoked.
Man,
Gouda.
I'm a sucker for some cheese.
I love cheese.
Okay, so I love cheese too. So soft, I really like Havarti. Havarti is great with a sandwich. It's not as a common. I'm a fan of the softer cheeses in general.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Smoked Gouda, like a Jarlsberg, is really good. It's kind of a relation to a Swiss, but it's not quite as. Some people think Swiss is too pungent. So if you don't like Swiss, you'd like a Jarlsberg. What I'm really a sucker for though is like an aged white cheddar that has the crystals in it. Knock me out with one of those.
I can
good.
Get behind that. I'm a big smoked Gouda guy. Love smoked Gouda.
It's really good.
Honestly,
there is some incredible aged Gouda as well. Like if you let that stuff age
yeah.
for a long time, it's fabulous.
This is like a very like normie take, but like honestly, a good fresh right off the wheel hunk of parm. It's a little crystallized. CW or Jake Brand. This is hilarious. It's Jake Brand. No, I'm just kidding.
It's Jake Brand. Hey, we're talking about cheese. I thought this comment was pertinent. Do you ever take a dump so big you have to lay down for a couple of minutes after?
Honestly, though, the other end of that spectrum is where you get out of the shower and then realize you have to do that, and then you got to do that, and you just got to reset your whole day and go back in, take a different. Like it's just one of those.
So, okay, this is going to maybe embarrass my family a little bit. Do you remember Ryan Spangler missing the point blank layup in the Big 12 tournament?
Oh, yeah.
He spangled it, right? That is what my brother and sister-in-law, that's what they call having to poop after you get out of the shower. You spangled your shower. You were right there. You were so close to getting it right. And instead you spangled it. You blew the layup.
Oh, God.
This is a comment. Shout out Brad Burrs. I used to work with Brad in Wisconsin. I did learn a lot about cheese in Wisconsin. Brad, hope you're doing well. Actually, one of the first like work things I showed up to, Pat, good friend of mine, Pat came with a bag of warm cheese curds, like they're hot, and he just tossed them to me, and I'm like, why is this bag of liquid and cheese so freaking hot? I didn't know people ate hot cheese curds. I guess I never thought about when you make cheese, it's warm. And then to top it off, when I leave, he goes, just don't put them in the fridge. I'm like, excuse me? He's like, no, you gotta leave them on your counter. They won't be squeaky if you don't leave them on your counter. I'm like, I don't even know what squeaky means.
Why are you calling this an elitist food discussion here? What is this?
Is it because we're talking about Gouda and
but like
I don't think smoke that's a pretty normal. If we were talking about like
okay, I accidentally pulled up that comment and I didn't mean to. We're not taking we're not taking a shit in the shower. What are we doing here?
No, like we're not talking about camembert or like goat cheese here. Like we're having a fairly normie cheese conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I literally just said like
this is a Midwestern. This is a good Midwestern cheese conversation here. Like honestly, those little mozzarella pearls, those are really good too. Like I'll throw those in there. I can delete those things.
Cheese. Put a cheese in front of me and I'm into it. Like I'm like, I mean, there's. I'll put it this way. I don't know if I actually tasted a cheese where I'm like, that's disgusting. I don't know if I've ever run into cheese.
There's only one. It's called Ski Queen. It's like a sweet cheese that looks and tastes like caramel. It's like a sweet cheese. Google it. It's not good. It's basically like caramel. I don't know how they make it. I bought it once accidentally and I didn't know. Memphis Barbecue or What You Smoking. Nick, What You Smoking is incredible. That place is phenomenal. Like
I've never
they
been to
do
What You
an
Smoking.
incredible job.
However,
Great wings.
as a person that is a bit of a barbecue connoisseur, Memphis barbecue is overrated.
Oh, now we're talking. I agree.
It's overrated. It's
dry overrated.
Dry rubs are fine, but it's overrated. I'm sorry. So the problem is the two extreme ends of the spectrum are both overrated. Memphis and Kansas City. No, they're both. It's barbecue.
Yeah,
It's good.
Kansas City's
Kansas
too
City
sweet.
is too sweet. It's like the sauce is just straight brown sugar and molasses. That's all it is. It's just like they're just like, let's slow smoke this meat. Let's make a good meat, and then we're just gonna dump sugar on it, and that's just what it is. Like
I do think
burn-ins
Georgia,
are the best thing that ever came out of Kansas City.
I'm a big fan of the mustardy barbecue sauce. I like if you like it.
Carolina vinegar sauce.
If you don't like mustard or vinegar, you're gonna and a lot of people despise that sauce for that reason. Levi, it's incredible. I even think like an Alabama white is good, which is basically a vinegary mayo sauce.
It goes on chicken. It goes on chicken. Yeah.
Yeah, very good with chicken, right? Like so.
Chicago pizza's overrated. Fuck you. No, you're wrong. Chicago pizza's great. It's not maybe not
Incorrect.
New York style pizza, but Chicago pizza's delicious.
Has anyone ever had Quad Cities pizza? Believe it or not, it's actually a thing. I don't think I've ever had it.
Hell yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I'm from
Well, I
Eastern
think
Iowa. I mean, this is you're talking about my territory.
that's right. That is your. How did I not know squeaky cheese again? Like, how many Iowans know that you're supposed to keep legit cheese curds on the counter? You can also evidently microwave them to make them squeaky if they are unsqueakified by putting them in the fridge. So, again, I didn't.
See when you're talking about cheese and beer, the Central Iowans are not close enough to Wisconsin to know ball about this.
They don't know ball.
They don't know. They just don't know ball.
At meetings in Wisconsin, we had like a workstation in Arlington, and in the fridge there would literally be like little things of milk and cheese. Or like if you're at a convention, you go out for snacks instead of like cookies and granola bars. Those might be there, but there's also milk and cheese. Like it's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the most Irish goodbye ever. Neither of us want to send. We could just keep talking about food. We should probably put a bow on this.
This is a base take. Detroit pizza.
Oh, I don't eat it. Wow.
Detroit pizza. Now I'll eat other pizza, but Detroit pizza is the best kind of pizza. It just is.
I do like Detroit pizza. As not a big pizza guy, I can get.
Pizza guy. What the hell is that?
If the pizza is not overly carby, then I'm pretty good. Like I like thin crust. Like New York style scratches me where I itch. Like I'm in on that. Okay, last one. Favorite bourbon. I'm kind of a bourbon novice, but I do like this question because I know people have takes about this. Levi, I'm going to kick it to you first. Like I've got one in mind, but I'm not the right person to ask this question
I'm
to.
100% a non-ball knower with bourbon. I'm not a bourbon or whiskey guy. I think I figured out in Ireland I might be a gin guy.
Now we're talking.
I might be a gin guy actually when I figured that out. If just like of not bourbon specifically, like of whiskeys that I've had. Actually, interestingly enough, so this is probably, I know this is going to get groans from like the people that drink whiskey, but actually, the band Slipknot has a whiskey at Cedar Ridge that was very good. It was really like, I don't like whiskey very much. I mean, I shouldn't say I don't like it. I just don't drink whiskey. Slipknot's whiskey from Cedar Ridge was incredible. It was really good.
I like Cedar Ridge. Knob Creek is probably my go-to if I drink bourbon. My dad really likes Knob Creek. I know there's fancier, more versions of it, but like just the regular one's pretty accessible. It doesn't cost a ton. Like I'm not looking for something super fancy. Woodford does make some really nice ones. I got one as a gift. Okay, if I've got to drink a spirit, Irish whiskey is incredibly smooth. I know before the bourbon people in the comments say that it's not real whiskey. I get it. I know it's slightly better than Canadian. It's not real whiskey, according Levi to like whiskey snobs, but the single pot stilled like 10-year Irish whiskeys are some of the smoothest and most flavorful. They're incredible. There's a Redbreast 12 and a 15. That's what fancy whiskey people say, is that Irish whiskey doesn't count, which I don't agree.
Literally Irish whiskey. Right.
But gin is incredible. Gin is my go-to. You can drink it with lemonade, with tonic, with club soda, whatever you want to do, right? A gin Ricky, I've learned a gin Ricky is gin and club soda. But gin and tonic is by far better, right? The British Empire was built on it.
I really hate gin and tonics very much because I don't like tonic, but
tonic is pretty gross.
It's fucking horrible. It's
don't
awful.
Disagree. Lemonade is great. Soda water is great. Actually, like bubbly. If you can find a bubbly flavor that you like.
the gins that I had in Ireland were incredible. They were like so good. Like I'd only ever had like shitty like college gin or whatever, like where it's just grain alcohol.
Bathtub gin.
Let's not pretend it's gin. But like I tried some. It's like I can taste the flowers, and I can like it's
oh yeah,
beautiful. And then you put literally 1 drop of water in. Oh,
and Irish gin makers are incredible. So like I'll give Iowa credit. Like we've talked about Cedar Ridge, but like Steeple Ridge, Cody Road, all of those make really good products. They do. But there are so many European gins, like Gunpowder is probably one of my favorite ones. A lot of them are Irish or English. Going to Ireland and England, which I've been twice, like we went for the football game. I outside of, I actually didn't drink Irish whiskey. It was either basically one of the stouts or gin, because their gin selection over there is absurd. There's actually some really good Japanese gins as well. If you're like in your late 20s or mid 20s, you listen to this, you're probably like, gin is gross. It's because you've only ever had like Barton's Well Gin or Paramount Well Gin from Size.
Great.
It is out. That is nail polish. Like actual gin tastes fabulous. And if you've not tried it, I encourage you, go out and pick it up. Maybe don't do a London Dry right away. There's other probably more floral ones that you'll like. But Levi, I did not know we found unity over this. I do enjoy gin. It's great.
Yeah. I'm new to the gin game. I haven't really done a ton with it. Redbird from our Discord has been trying to give me a try a gin martini. I have not tried that yet.
Ooh.
Mostly because the last time I don't like olives very much.
Right.
And the last time I had a martini, it was so heavy on the olives, and I'm like, this is fucking horrible.
Well, some people want it like so dirty where literally like half of that martini is
It's
olive
just
juice.
olive juice.
And
And
I like olives, but that's a little aggressive for me.
Too much.
All right. On that note, I think we're out of questions.
Yeah, let's wrap her up.
Let's wrap up.
We said that literally 20 minutes ago, but
we're Midwest exiting this. It's great.
We've got shows on Monday. We've got tons of shows on Monday, and we'll have shows on Sunday and Monday. We'll have post games. We'll have all that stuff. We'll have tons and tons of coverage for Iowa State, both the men and the women, for the next couple weeks here. Well, hopefully next month. And then yes, that's what we got coming up. And so everybody, thank you for watching this episode of the Cyclone Fanatic After Dark post game, I should say. I'm Levi Stevenson. That's Matt Nelson. We'll see you guys again next week. Later.